Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles, the bishop, and the elders that Grand Master as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of the video is Global News Highlight. Right, and basically what I do with this news is going to the artificial intelligence apps that these devils have created, and I asked it, the top news worldwide. It pretty much gives me whatever it wants to give me. I read through it and see if it's aligned with what's happening, and I just bring it out and I bring some scriptures, right? Because this is measuring the time diligently in itself. And I'll grab it real quick. Walking circumspectly. All right, it's the second Ezra 9, verse 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest chart and signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it's the very same time we're in the highest of being presented the glory that you knew. So we're watching, we're on our watch post, we're going to trumpet, we're looking for the different signs which is the prophecies that's being played out here in Babylon the Great and all around the world. And pretty much all those prophecies are here. We're at the final stages, right? We have Jacob's trouble and the MOTB, and of course World War III. And all these things are growing now. So we're just watching, keeping our watch to see how they intensify, what next move, could lead to next move and things like that. Okay, so verse 3 says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and upward the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. All right, so like it's already made in the world, had the beginning and the end is manifest. Even so, the times also the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and ending and effects and signs. Right, and that's what we're dealing with right now, the effects and signs of the end. Right, that's what we see upward of the future. Right, we see typhoons and sinkholes open up in land, cars being swallowed, people being swallowed, all these different things. The Most High is vision in space, right, upwards of the future. You got people attacking each other, ice agents attacking the people attacking the ice agents. All these things are the effects and signs of their enemy. Right? This is not society or thing to live in. People are no longer trying to come to America for vacation. They're trying to avoid this place like the plague. So that lets you know all you need to know. This is no longer the place to be. Right? America is in a decline, right? They're calling it a third world country. Let me look at that real quick. The third world country. All right, so I typed up in Google. I said the third world country meaning that the term third world country is an outdated Cold War era concept referring to nations not aligned with either the capitalist first world led by the U.S. Imagine that, which says, or the communist second world led by the Soviet Union. It says today is often used imprecisely to describe economic underdevelopment or developing nations with characteristics like high poverty, right, economic instability, instability, and lack of basic necessities. Yeah, it's America, right? America has turned to a third world country, and people are saying that. Like I said, they're avoiding to come here for vacationing and things like that. So let's see what we got in this artificial intelligence app. I'm in the Grok app. I asked it simply top global news worldwide. It gave me 10 examples. I might read 9 of them. So top global news headline, September 25th, 2025. It says here's a roundup of the most prominent international stories making waves today, drawn from major outlets covering politics, conflicts, disasters, and more. These reflect ongoing developments at the United Nations General Assembly and beyond. Point 1. UN General Assembly. Trump warns Russia on Ukraine, urges allies to cut Russian energy supplies. U.S. President Donald Trump delivered a fiery address at the 80th UN General Assembly, threatening very strong tariffs on Russia if it doesn't end a war in Ukraine and criticizing NATO allies for funding Moscow through continued energy imports. He highlighted countries like Hungary, uh, Slovakia, France, Belgium, and Spain as top European buyers of Russian oil and LNG, calling it funding the war against himself. Trump reversed earlier position stating Ukraine could reclaim lost territory amid reports of Russian aircraft entering NATO airspace. So, basically what's happening is, uh, they're kind of in a difficult position. They need to buy the Russian oil to, basically survive, because they don't have the oil they need, they're working on some type of pipeline to go over there to help them, but that's, in the future, down the line. So you don't have it yet. Um, and like Trump said before, basically that, you know, Ukraine might need to give up land, to end the war. But I guess now, after the fact that Russia had drones flying into Poland airspace and they call it Article 4, right, which is when the NATO nations come together and speak about what's going to happen, whether they're going to do Article 5, the next one to attack one, attack us all situation. So it says, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky followed with a speech warning of a potential global arms race fueled by Russian drone and AI tactics. AF point one, I can grab Isaiah 47, these different councils about them trying to save themselves. This is Isaiah 47. And so it says, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, and so be thou shalt be able to profit, and so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels, but now the astrologers, the monthly prognosticators, stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. And basically, they're kind of warrior, and that's why they have these councils. So point 2 says, Syria's president breaks 60-year UN silence amid shifting tide. In a historic first for nearly 6 decades, Syrian President Ahmad addressed the UN General Assembly, signaling a potential thaw in international relations after years of isolation. His speech focused on post-conflict rebuilding and regional stability, drawing cautious optimism from observers despite ongoing humanitarian crises. Right. This is the most high Muslim in the host. He's calling people that haven't said nothing in nearly 60 years to start talking about what's happening currently in the world. All right. This is Isaiah 13 in verse 4. It says, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdom of nations gathered together. Right, ultimately, it's talking about war, but you can see already they're preparing. The nations are gathered together already with these UN General Assemblies. They're trying to fix their problems. They're calling for peace and safety. They want it to stop. Right? It says, the Lord Yahweh Bashin El Shai of hosts mustered the host of the battle. Right? So the Most High Yahweh is causing these nations to gather, right, for what will be World War II. Point 3, Typhoon Yagi devastates Southeast Asia, leaves trail of destruction. It says Super Typhoon Yagi, also referred to as Ragasa in some reports, battered Hong Kong with massive waves and strong winds after killing dozens in Taiwan in the Philippines. Southern China faces ongoing flooding risks with evacuations underway. The storm has disrupted global shipping routes and highlighted vulnerabilities in climate impacted regions. Hey, the Most High is in this place with tempests and storms. I mean, yeah, this right here. This is Isaiah 29 and 6, right? Says, thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh Bashmiel Shai of hosts with thunder and with earthquakes and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. All right. That's how most of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is coming. Right, visiting this place. Point 4. It says mounting accusations of genocide in Gaza spark legal and scholarly debate. As international calls for accountability grow, experts are increasingly applying the scripture say who possesses freedom and hold themselves not guilty. Right? And Job 9:24 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So this devil is presiding over the whole world. Right? And that's why he's able to kill off the Palestinians over there in Gaza, write laws, right? And then so he's innocent. It says, as international calls for accountability grow, experts are increasingly applying the legal definition of genocide to Israel actions in Gaza, citing evidence of intent and scale. Previously hesitant scholars have revised their views, fueling UN discussions and potential international court of justice proposals. Casualty figures continue to rise amid stalled ceasefire talks. Yes, once again, in their councils, trying to get that piece of safety going on, but it won't happen. All right, point 5 says drone incursion forced closure of Danish airport, raising security fears. So Aalborg Airport in Denmark shut down after systematic drone sightings overnight, with defense ministers probe blaming a professional actor. Basically we're just in that time. We're in that time of war, right? The Most High, like I quoted earlier, the Most High is mustering the host of the battle, and these things are heating up. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And the subheading of there says a time for everything. So I'm gonna read down towards the end a little bit. I'll read a little bit of it. Verse 1 says, to everything there's a season and a time for every purpose under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up. Now jumping down, it says a time to reign in verse 7, a time to reign and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Right? So you had Donald Trump talking about trying to enter back into the golden age of America, which can never happen because we're in a time of war now. We're in a time now where the Most High Yahweh Bashim Shai is breaking this place down. All right. So that's why we have all these different areas getting different drone sightings and attacks. It's happening all over. Military bases in Iran is getting hit with drones. Of course, we got the Europe area over there getting their drone sightings. So continuing on this point 5, it says right here, it says the incident echoes similar disruptions across Europe, prompting questions about airspace vulnerabilities and possible links to geopolitical tension. All right, we got point 6. It says Iran's executions hit 1,000 in 2025, sparking global outrage. An NGO reported at least 1,000 executions in Iran this year alone, describing it as a mass killing campaign in prisons. The search targets dissidents and minorities, drawing condemnation from human rights groups and calls for UN intervention amid broader Middle East, brutality. And basically, all we have is the people being taken in great numbers, right? As we inch towards the end. This is our second Ezra chapter 8 and verse 50. It says, for many great misery shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world because they have walked in great trials. So many great miseries. People being taken out the way. Most like, have spirits pray for vengeance to, deal out judgment to whoever he wants. All right. So we got a point 8 right here. It says global markets dip as Fed delays rate cuts. U.S. tariffs on India high. So U.S. stocks fell after the Federal Reserve provided no clear timeline for interest rate reductions, strengthening the dollar and pressuring commodities. Separately, Secretary of State Marco Rubio hinted at revising 25% tariffs on India over its Russian oil purchases, tying into broader U.S. energy sanctions push. Ultimately, I'm not going to pretend like I know too much about the money situation, but what they're trying to do is, bring in a digital currency for the digital age, which will bring folks to MO3D, right? We got point 9. It says humanoid robots and AI integration raise ethical concerns. Amid rapid adoption, experts warn of societal risks from generative AI-powered androids entering daily life, from workplaces to homes. The Portland Summit highlighted integration benefits, but stressed the need for regulation to address job displacement and privacy issues, right? And this is one where they're divided, right? Going to that Matthew 12. They don't know how to integrate these things. Some people don't want to integrate it. What Trump did in his big, beautiful bill is make it so that, I believe it was for 10 years, so that no one could determine how they went forth with this AI. They have complete freedom to do as they will, as in the government. And they don't want the state or anybody else working up against it. But they're divided on that, going to that Matthew 12. All right, so we got point 10. It says Pacific Island bears brunt of U.S.-China tensions. The Marshall Islands eyeball atoll, peaked to U.S. missile defense against China, grapples with rampant diabetes and short lifespans due to overcrowding and pollution from nearby bases. The story underscores the human cost of great powers, rivalry in the region. These stories capture the day's post on diplomacy, conflict, and climate challenges. All right, so pretty much that's the myth. That's been the news. That's what's happening worldwide. We're going to do this Ephesians 5:15. Ephesians 5:15, it says, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. NLT says, verse 15, so be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. Right? So, hey, walk circumspectly, stay prayed up, repent. Shalom. To those elect, which consists of men, women, and children, shalom.